How's it going, everybody? Nerds Rising here, and welcome back to the Nerd Cave. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at one of my best budget Ultra League teams that I've been using probably for the last, year or so maybe. I don't remember exactly when the wing attack buff came into play, but basically since the wing attack buff, I've been using this as my budget team. And what I mean by budget team is there are no legendaries, no XL candies required, and all of the mons are pretty accessible. They've all been around for a while, and I'd say most people at least have access to build them if they wanted to. Now, obviously, Charizard and Walrein both do require elite TMs, but I mean, they've had multiple community days, and really, Wing Attack is the only non-com day thing that you kind of have to spend an Elite Fast TM on, but it's definitely worth it. You all need to have a Wing Attack Zard, and Goon as well. I believe technically the higher ranked Goons are slightly XL. Mine is like level 41 maybe or something, but it does not have to be XL. I have a very good non-XL Goon that performs just as well almost, so try this team out if you want to. There are core breakers, there are better XL teams, but if you're someone like myself who does not like to spend a lot of resources on the Ultra League, this is a pretty solid team. I did go up about 100 elo with it, and I think I only played like 4 sets with it, so I had like 2 4-1s and 2 3-2s, I believe, and so yeah, pretty solid overall. I do use it pretty much every season for the last 3 seasons or so, and it always performs well. So let's take a look at it here. Again, I know you guys in the comments are going to be like, what about this Pokemon? What do you do for this? And there are plenty of core breakers. As you're going to see, Tentacruel is one of them. Tentacruel has good matchups against really all of our Pokemon here. So my play here was to try to catch the Scald. Unfortunately, I don't catch it, and we actually are met with a Poliwrath on the stage switcher. This is really looking bad so far, but this is how the team is supposed to function here. Walrein on the safe switch hopefully will draw out that counter user, and then ideally it'll be freeing up the Goon in the back. And fortunately, we are at least seeing the Poliwrath here against the Walrein and not against the Goon, because Goon would get absolutely crushed by the Poliwrath. So they actually go for an Ice Punch there. It doesn't KO. I'm not going to make the EQ, so I settle for the Spear, but we do get this thing fairly low. And since they just dumped some energy here, I should be able to overfarm some more on the Charizard, and we're going to get rid of the Poliwrath. Obviously, the Tentacruel's still alive. They banked a ton of energy as well, so it's going to be a little bit tricky to take this thing out, but we still do have 2 shields, so this is definitely not over. I overfarm. Again, I'm going to throw the Blast Burn. I'm going to try to catch, but what you're going to see is here, the opponent lets it go, and then they still overfarm, so they're at like nearly 2 Scalds here, and I bring the Goon in, and this is not a good matchup for Goon, but we really can't stay in with the Zard. Otherwise, we'd definitely be giving up both of our shields. So we bring the Goon in, and they're actually staying in here. So I decide to commit a shield for that reason, because since they're staying in, this could potentially mean that they're weak in the back. And if you think about it, there could potentially be something in the back that's weak to fighting, like weak to counter if they have a Tentacruel lead, so maybe like a Snorlax or an Alolan Sandslash or something along those lines. So I'm going to actually be double shielding my Goon here, and at the very least, we do significantly outpace them. I bank some energy there, and sure enough, it is a Shadow Alolan Sandslash. And check this out, I go for the Dragon Claw bait on CMP, thinking that if they see the CMP tie, they may actually be inclined to undercharge here. And if they undercharge, and they do undercharge it, which is a nice play by them, but since I baited, it's actually going to allow me to get to another Claw, and that little bit of chip damage is going to allow this Cross Chop to take out the Sandslash, and that is going to be a very clutch Game 1 win. And as you guys see, there is play for the core breakers. Tentacruel is very difficult for this team, but that is the only one I saw. If you do see it, yeah, it's just going to be a tough matchup, but there is play. So next battle, Shadow Dragonite. Shadow Dragonite is not a very good matchup either for the Charizard. They do win the 2 shield just because of the raw damage of the Dragon Breath. And that's a very nice play by the opponent. They recognize that in order to outpace them, I'd have to throw my Claw right away. So they do catch the Claw and the Jelly, but since I had such a dominant response to the Jelly, I'm totally fine there with just rebanking the Claw, catching the Surf on the Goon, and then bringing it in, because Goon is just so good. Even though Jellicent has Surf now, these Hexes are triple resisted, so there's just really no way they can take back Switch from me here unless I let them. And I believe here, I'm just going straight Night Slash. I'm throwing on correct timing, and here I think I just recognize that I should actually be able to just fully counter down the Jelly, but I think what I decided to do instead is just throw right away, because I think I wasn't quite sure. I think I would have barely lived another Surf, but I think they may have just barely gotten to it. And what I realized there is if I keep my Goon healthy enough, I actually will make a Night Slash here against this Shadow Dragonite that comes back in. And here, I was kind of thinking they know that they're going to win CMP against my Zard, so I kind of thought they might try to throw the Claw right away, recognizing my Zard did have the Claw bank, so actually bring in the Walrein there, and they throw instantly, and I actually call it there, and then they top left, recognizing it was over. I had 2 shields still, and I had basically a very healthy Walrein and a very healthy Zard with 2 shields for their backline, and probably was going to be a GG. In this battle, this is another massive core breaker for this team. Electric types are just absolutely terrible, and it's actually kind of wild. In the 2 shield, if you double bait with Claw, Zard actually does win against Ampharos because you get to that final blast burn on CMP. Now, if you're noticing, this is a Shadow Ampharos, so I wasn't quite sure if I double baited, if I'd make the move, just because those Volt Switches are doing so much. So I like to just give up both shields, but get both of their shields. I was kind of hoping they would try to call a Claw bait there, but they don't. And unfortunately, now I have to bring in the Walrein. And fortunately, I do draw out the Virizion, but this is looking pretty rough, honestly. They had 2 really good answers from my team so far, and they have to throw right away. Very nice counting by the opponent, recognizing if they didn't throw right away, I would make the move. But here, I actually make a kind of interesting play here. I'm going to bring back in the Zard. I'm going to wait the switch clock out, and I'm actually not going to throw the Claw here. I want them to take me out because I want to actually farm down with a Goon, because if I just take them out with the Claw there, all that happens is whatever they have in back or their Ampharos comes back in, farms down my Zard, gets an energy head start. So instead, I elect to give the Goon an energy head start and hope that Goon has a good matchup in back. And that's really the goal of this team. You want to draw out their best response to the Goon with the Walrein, which in this case was a Virizion, and then hope that the Goon can then sweep the back line. Unfortunately, it is actually a Trevenant. A good matchup for the Goon, but the issue here is I believe the opponent banked a Thunder Punch, and what I really need is to take this thing out before I'm in Thunder Punch range from the next Seed Bomb, but XL Trevenant can tank 2 Night Slashes in the Ultra League, and as you see, they live it on 1 HP. If that would have KO'd, I don't quite think I would have been in Thunder Punch range, but unfortunately, they did bank the move. I didn't throw the Night Slash there, just knowing I lose CMP, and unfortunately, yeah, we lose a very close game. But as you see, Ampharos, we still made that close, despite the core breaker lead, and that's a GG. And by the way, I always get comments whenever I wear soccer apparel. I'm wearing a Chelsea jersey today. I always get comments and like, oh, are you a so-and-so fan of whatever team? And I am a lover of all European football. Since I'm American and I live in Ohio, which is like just a little Midwest state, like there's not really, I don't have any really affiliation with any European clubs. So I pretty much just root for players, to be completely honest with you guys. I'm not really a Chelsea fan anymore, to be honest. I think their club's an absolute shambles the last couple seasons. After winning the Champions League, somehow they just like are horrible. I truly don't understand. They have no passion in their play. Sorry to any Chelsea fans out there, guys. Chelsea, I mean, amazing club, one of the greats of the Premier League, but yeah, this is a classic Eden Hazard number 17 kit from back in the day. Just a crazy, one of the best players in my opinion. In his prime, unplayable, but that's my football rant. But yeah, I love all teams. I'm wearing an FC Porto hat as well. Shout out to any Porto fans. I always root for Porto in the Champions League. I don't watch Liga NOS just because I don't get access to it here in the US, but without paying extra money. But anyway, we had a Shadow Dragonite lead, I believe, here in this battle. I wasn't really commentating on the battles. I think they answered my Walrein with a Skunk Tank for some reason, which is definitely not an answer to Walrein. I went straight EQ, I believe. I think I nearly took it out, and what do they have in the back here? And it's the Jellicent there, yeah. So here I just recognize, I think if you're wondering why I let the Goon go down, I recognize I'd get to the Blast Burn here on the Zard, and I'd recognize they'd be forced to throw right away, and I believe I banked, if I remember right, I banked an Icicle Spear on the Walrein. Yeah, I did, so this should be a GG here. But as you see, we're dancing around. If I can, I like to get a shield advantage with the Zard before I say switch into the Walrein. As you guys saw there, I think I threw the Claw on the Dragonite and then got their shield and then safe switch into the Walrein. It's just a better thing to do in general, because Walrein does a lot better if the opponent is down a shield, because you're more likely to be able to land the Earthquake if the opponent only has 1 shield, whereas if they have 2, even if you double bait, oftentimes you're still not going to make the EQ. But in this battle, we had a Coballion lead, and the opponent again is going to safe switch into a Jellicent, and we just have an amazing response to Jellicent. Again, you're going to be seeing me throw after either 4 counters or 1 counter. They're on a 3-turn move. We don't want to let a full Hex through, so we're always going to be trying our best to throw on good timing. And I think in this matchup, I actually go for bad timing at some point here. I go after 3, which, as you saw, allowed a full Hex through, but recognizing that they were at the move, so I had to throw, but they overfarm, and they overfarm again, so I'm actually going to get 2 Night Slashes off, get both of their shields, and they have so much energy. I'm recognizing if I shield once, I'm going to have to shield twice because they have 2 Surfs already, basically. So rather than doing that, I'm actually just going to take my 2-0 shield advantage, come in with a Charizard, shield once, farm all the way down, and we're going to have the Zard with a ton of energy and a shield advantage. And they bring back in the Coballion, so they must be so weak to Coballion, to the Charizard here. And at this point, I think I was expecting there to be like another steel type in back. There, they would have made a Stone Edge, so I have to throw the Claw. But what you're going to see, it is the classic Pidgeot Coballion core. And yeah, Zard up energy and shields, guys, is just so deadly. There's just really not many things in the game that want to tank a Blast Burn from a Zard. Yeah, and that's a GG. I'm not sure why the opponent doesn't top left there, but we'll take it. So, well-played game there. They actually go for the Brave Bird. We tank it, and GG's to the opponent there. So, a couple more battles, guys. I think I did include like maybe 10 or 11 battles. As you see, we have seen some losses. I believe there are a couple more losses. We'll see some more core breakers on the team here. And we have a Walrein lead here, which is pretty neutral. I tried to catch the spear here, but the opponent showed great patience there. They hang on to their energy and they do throw the Earthquake, but that's totally fine. Earthquake really doesn't do that much damage, and they actually bring in their own Shadow Zard to this Walrein and up energy. This is really not that good of a matchup for the Zard here. I think I do call a bait here. I don't throw there. No, actually, I'm going to respect it. That's a surprising call. They do full send it, so nice shield there. As you saw, I went for the extra there, knowing I would lose CMP. This is just a Claw, so I was totally fine with over-farming here. And they do go for the Claw, which is best case scenario, honestly. They waste their energy. They still don't KO me. And I get a shield back, and I think I over-farm, throw the Claw of my own. And if they do let this go, I'm feeling pretty good about this match here. We still have a ton of energy here, and they have a Swampert in back. And this is just really not that bad, guys, because Mudshots are resisted, and they're going to have to land a Hydro to take me out. And I'm already nearly at 3 Claws, and if they try to overfarm, I will make a 3rd Claw and get this thing very, very low. And we're looking in a prime position right now. They actually overfarm and play to a CMP tie, so they definitely should have thrown there a lot earlier, but it really doesn't matter because we were already primed for a Goon sweep because they have that Walrein still alive, and Goon is just going to destroy this Walrein and actually make a savage, unnecessary catch on this opponent as well. So, sorry to the opponent there. I definitely did not have to do that, but yeah, if the game wasn't already over, that catch just sealed the opponent's fate, and yeah, they surrender. Goon can easily tank 2 Earthquakes from Walrein, especially if your Goon is slightly XL'd. Mine is a rank, like, it's a pretty high rank, it's like rank 30 something, or 40 maybe. I can't remember off the top of my head. I actually did just get the rank 1 Goon. Will I invest in it? I'm not sure, because I already have 3 Obstagoons built. I have a non-XL'd Goon built, I have a slightly XL'd Goon built with Obstruct, and then I have this one as my best IV1 with the standard Night Slash and Cross Chop. So will I build a 4th Goon? I'm not sure. It's actually not that expensive because it's only 10k for a second charge move as well, which is kind of nice. And yeah, we'll see if I decide to do that or not. But here's a really good mon to have, guys. If you don't have a Goon in your arsenal, you definitely need one. Now, this is the battle that has the Tapu Fini. So this is Tapu Fini is probably, other than Ampharos, one of the worst core breakers for this team because Tapu Fini, where at least with the Ampharos, the Goon can do pretty well against Ampharos as long as they're not running Focus Blast. Well, Tapu Fini actually beats all 3 of our Pokemon, so it's really, really rough to see. But what you're going to see is we still have some play because they don't know I have a Goon in the back, and you're going to see me use that to my advantage. So I'm going to commit to the Earthquake here, and here I actually really want to show you guys how important it is to commit to the move here, because some of you are wondering, why don't you throw your spear into that Tapu Fini? That chip damage would be really valuable, but what I recognize here is I'm so low on my Walrein. If I commit to if I throw the Icicle Spear, the Tapu Fini can farm me all the way down. And if they farm me all the way down, they're going to have so much energy for my Goon and my Zard. So there, by committing to the Earthquake, I scare them into throwing. And I'm actually going to come in with my Zard here because they're not going to shield this. They know that they resist all my moves, but that Blast Burn chip damage is going to be absolutely massive because now Goon actually is going to have a chance to do enough damage to take this thing out. Whereas if I just save the Zard for later on, I didn't have the Blast Burn banked, and they probably could have beaten my Goon with the amount of health that they had in there. My only win con was to call a Surf Bait or shield the Moonblast, and I make a ballsy call. I call the Surf Bait, and the opponent surrenders, and we take out probably one of the hardest counters to this team that you're going to see. So GG there. Next battle, we have the Zardmere. This is just kind of a baiting game. I typically like to full send the Blast Burn because, you know, you can easily tank a Claw, but Blast Burn just does so much damage, and then I make a Savage catch onto the Walrein. Walrein is always going to tank moves better than Zard, and they do answer us with a Coballion, which is not good for our Walrein, but again, all we really care about is drawing out their counter user or their double kick user to keep it away from that goon and back. We will make an Earthquake. Coballion, if they don't want to, they do not have to shield this and they will still live it, but they do decide to commit a shield, and that actually might be worse, because now it's going to be a matter of, do we have to shield the Stone Edge? Do we call a bait? And what do I decide to do here? I forget if I call the bait. I think I do call the bait here because I have 2 shields, and they do full send the Stone Edge, and I get nuked. I surrender there, and that's a GG. That's just a call you have to make, guys. If I would have shielded, I mean, maybe I could have won that game, but I had 2 shields, and what I've noticed is in the lower elos, and I'm not saying that 2600 is a super low elo, but the higher up you go towards Legend, the more likely people are to bait you. I've hit Legend every season, guys. I know this for a fact. People like to bait you at the lower elo you are. So I call the bait, and yeah, it does not go well for me. So GG to the opponent there. Mad respect for full sending it. Here you saw me play into a Poliwrath lead, which is kind of rough. Another core breaker for the team, but we do actually win the 2 shield in this matchup just because we outpace, and the opponent there actually saves their Poliwrath, and they safe switch into a Sand Slash. So yeah, Sand Slash, definitely not a safe switch, guys. I mean, it is super strong, but if you get locked into a counter user, you're just into a really, really rough position, especially when you're running the Shadow Claw variant. The Goon just absolutely shreds it. As you see there, I go for an undercharge. Unfortunately, it just barely doesn't work out. They live on 1 HP and they make another move, but this is totally fine. I get some extra energy, and I believe they have a Drapion in back, and their Poliwrath is on 1 HP, and I'm feeling pretty good about this game at this point. They overfarm, they allow me to make another move. Kitten, do you want to go upstairs? You have to wait now. You have to wait. My cat's scratching at the door upstairs, but she can wait. But anyway, yeah, they're just too low. Even though they're up shields, they just don't have enough HP really here. And I think here I don't even build up to the Earthquake, recognizing I still have health and energy on my Zard. So yeah, the play here is just to go straight Icicle Spear. A lose con potentially for me would be full sending the Earthquake and having them shield it, but they shield anyway. And I think at this point, I just let it go. I think I can barely live this. And no, I actually do, no, oh yeah, here, I'm getting ahead of myself here, guys. The cat's got me thrown off. But here is actually kind of a crazy play here. I knew they had their Poliwrath for the safe switch, or for the potential catch. So what I'm recognizing here is I have the energy banked on my Zard. So what you're going to see me do here is actually come in and not even tap my screen, because I'm recognizing if I click the move right away, they're probably going to insta-swap and try to catch. So I'm going to just bring the Zard in. I know they don't have a move banked on the Drapion, so I don't have to click on my move right away. I'm just going to sit there for 1 turn and wait, and check this out. I bring in the Zard. I don't even tap my screen. They bring in the Poliwrath to try to catch. Nice timing there by the opponent. That was their win con. And then I tap the Blast Burn, and I take out the Drapion. So GG to the opponent there. Sorry, guys. The cat is just sitting on the stairs over there staring at me, wondering why I shut the door to the basement and why she can't go upstairs. But you know what? She can wait, because this is, I think we're into like the last 3 battles here or so. So another Zardmere here. You guys have already seen me play this out. I typically will tank 1 and then full send the Blast Burn. And then depending on what they do, I typically will say switch into the Walrein. Again, I always do try to preserve the Zard if I can, in case they have a counter user, so I will shield this up. And now I think we'll probably bring in the Walrein. Or do I go for 1 more Claw? Maybe I'll go for 1 more Claw just before they make another of their own, just to try to get a shield. And then I'll probably instantly pivot depending on what they come in with. Yeah, they come in with a Swampert. I build up to 5 here. I try to catch the move. I'm unsuccessful, but that is totally fine. And they have a Registeel in the back. And it is very nice that we safe switched out of there and preserve some energy on our Zard, because this is going to be very nice for us later on. We do full send the Earthquake. They let it go. And now I honestly think that fast moves are probably going to be enough to win me this game, because the Reggie does have to go for another move here. In the Ultra League, Walrein can pretty easily tank 1 move and not really be in danger of being locked on farm down. I do full send the Earthquakes here. And again, you're going to see me, I want to make sure I build up to the Earthquake, because if I settle for a Spear there, they may actually be able to lock on me down there. So I make sure I bank the move here. I know I will outpace, and I think this actually might even have been CMP. Even if a Registeel is at 100 energy, it still takes them a minimum of 10 turns to reach their next move, even if they're at 100 energy. And I recognize there it's going to take me 10 turns to get to my Night Slash. So I come in with the Goon there, actually, and I actually get the boost as well. And I think the boost there is going to seal the opponent's fate. The Goon can tank 2 Hydro Cannons from the regular Swapper pretty easily, and I still had energy on my Zard as well. So I just commit to the Goon there, recognizing they'd have to basically Earthquake me and Hydro me there to take me out, and that would force them to expend all their energy, and then I could just come in with the Zard and double claw them and win the game. So GG to the opponent there. Pretty tough team comp for me, but I was able to pull it off in the end. And we have another Ace Flash lead, and this is actually not super comfortable for Zard and the 2-shield. It does require baits to win. They do win the 2-shield going straight Ice Punch, because as you see, these Shadow Claws and Ice Punches really do chunk. So I do full send it here on the CMP tie, just not wanting to risk the claw bait, and they do shield it. And actually, I guess it wasn't CMP, and I actually make a savage catch there. I believe I went one over the move, recognizing they probably would over farm, and I catch their move. So again, we have to safe switch out of there just in case they have a counter user in the back, and they don't. It appears that they don't have a counter user because they bring in a Golisopod to our Walrein. And I honestly cannot remember what the back Pokemon is on this team. This is, I believe, Home Slice Henry's team he put out from a while back. These battles actually are from last week. I believe, is it a Brizian in the back? I don't remember what's in the back, but this is Home Slice Henry's line that he put out a while back in his Golisopod Sand / Core Breaker video, or a Strong Core video that he put out a couple weeks ago. So here, I commit to the Earthquake, recognizing that probably would just about KO, and now I think I'm going to massively overfarm, take care of this Golisopod with the Claw, and again, we're going to be hoping that the Goon is going to be double strong against their backline. And there, I recognize they probably were going to throw right away. They knew I wasn't at the move, so I catch on the Goon, and there's a Giratina in the back. And check this out, guys. This is actually probably a losing situation for me, because they have 2 shields and they're running Dragon Breath, or they have 1 shield, excuse me. I saved shields there, thinking that my Goon would need shields over health, but since it's a Dragon Breath Giratina, sorry, they're actually going to be able to fully Dragon Breath me down here. But check this out, I actually double boost on my Goon, and because of that double boost, I'm going to be able to take this Giratina out. I'm not even sure if a single boosted Night Slash takes it out from that range, and then they were going to get fully countered down. So the boost win con comes in clutch there as I get the double boost for the win, and that's a GG. And I think, is this the last battle? This might be the last battle. I'm not 100% sure. Another Poliwrath lead. You guys saw me play another Poliwrath lead earlier, and it's just a little tricky. I do typically like to just go straight Claw, just because it does more. As you saw in the last battle, I believe I went Claw, and then the Blast Burn didn't KO on like 1 HP, so I think I tried again in this battle, just thinking maybe it's an IV-dependent situation, but they do actually shield the Blast Burn up this time. So since they shielded up, I'm more than willing to shield up myself, recognizing they could be weak in the back. And here, I am going to just bait. I normally don't bait, but lately I've been noticing that a lot of people have been shielding my Blast Burn, so I do bait there. I do get the shield, and unless they're running Sludge Wave here, this should be a pretty comfortable matchup for our Goon with the counters and the cross chops, and they are running Acid Spray, so this is very nice for the Goon. I do bring the Goon in here just because I want to keep it away from the Poliwrath, because that Poliwrath did bank a little bit of energy and some health, and I think here, I don't quite think the cross chop is going to KO, but I'm actually totally fine with that, because I'd rather just come in here and get energy on my Zard and farm all the way down, and I think they're only going to make the Acid Spray here, and I believe I will just barely survive this, and then I should be able to pivot instantly into my Walrein, reset that debuff, and then save the Zard for later on, and they instantly switch into a Snorlax, and at this point, I'm going to massively overfarm. I want them to superpower me right away, and then take them out with an Earthquake, but what they actually are going to do here is they're going to try to build up to the back-to-back, and I think this is a mistake on their part. They overfarm too much, and they end up allowing me to get to 2 moves before them. I know they were at the superpower. I think they should have just gone for it, honestly, guys. And that would have put me low enough to where the Poliwrath could have just countered me down. So I think they should probably have just thrown instantly, but you know what? We take the win. And this is actually the last battle here. So another Alolan Sandslash lead, this time a Shadow, and they safe switch into a Golisopod here, and this is just so awkward. We definitely can't bring in the Walrein, and Goon does okay here. The X-Scissors are super effective, but with an energy lead, the Golisopod can flip the matchup against the Goon, so I just play it safe, and I'm actually going to just stay in here, commit my shields, go straight Claw, recognizing if I can take switch advantage, I can put my Goon onto that A-Slash, and Goon just absolutely demolishes A-Slash, and this is a CMP tie. If they shield here, they will actually maintain alignment, but they elect to take their shield advantage, and now my Goon is going to be aligned to that Sandslash, and this is going to be a very rough endgame for the opponent. Here, I commit to the Blast Burn, and I think if they try to farm me down, I may make another one. So they're probably going to be forced to throw here, and I'm not going to settle for the Claw. They do throw right before I get to the Claw anyway, and now Goon is going to come in, and we just have to hope that the Walrein can clutch out in the end game against whatever's in the back end. What is going to be their final Pokemon? They're going to be chipping, and they're going to be bringing in their Backmon, and it is another Charm, or another Fairy Water type. And in this situation, I actually bank the Night Slash before switching out, recognizing I'm going to need more than just an Earthquake to take them out. And the reason why I bank the Night Slash there rather than throwing it instantly is just in case I boost. I figured it'd be nice to not, and you know, if I would have Night Slashed and then dipped into the Walrein and boosted, then the boost would have been wasted when I switched out. So I bank it anyway. I don't get the boost, but now Goon is going to lose CMP, but Goon can take an Ice Punch. And I think they even go for the Drill Run here. No, they go for the Ice Punch. I think we still would have lived the Drill Run, and we're going to take that game. So another pretty strong team there from the opponent running the Sandslash Golisopod core. We take the dub, and that is all she wrote, folks. So thank you for watching. I hope you guys, I hope you guys like the variety that I bring. I do love to run Spice. I prefer running Spice. Typically, after I hit Legend, I will just go full on Spice, but every once in a while, it's nice to see some teams that are actually decent, because I understand that not everybody's at Legend, and some people are still grinding it out, trying to climb. So try this team out if you want. Again, there are better teams, but if you don't feel like dropping, hundreds of thousands of dust and tons of Elite TMs and XL candies and trying to get Legendaries, this is a very accessible team that I would strongly recommend. So thank you guys for watching. Again, I have forgotten to update my Pikachu Libre backdrop. I do not have my most recent Libre on there, but oh well. Anyway, guys, come check me out on Discord if you want. I do have a Discord, link will be in the description. And that being said, if you are not subscribed, please consider doing so, because the more subscribers we can get, the more Pokemon my wife will let me play.